Hey guys, guess what? I just seen an IGN video where they said there's too much war in a war game. Yeah, I know. I was flabbergasted too when I seen it. I couldn't believe my ears. I was like, what? The Finkelstein? Too much war in a war game? In my opinion, there's never enough. But these IGNers were complaining, saying the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare is too realistic, too brutal, and too disturbing. Well, duh, dipshits. What'd you think was going to be in the game? Unicorns, rainbows, and pixie sticks? Did you think you were going to be using Nerf guns and water guns filled with red Kool-Aid? Of course it's brutal and disturbing. That's the way real war is, and that's the way the Call of Duty game should have been depicted from the start. But the publisher was so worried about the multiplayer and getting it ready for esports every single year that the realism was put on the back burner. But now, Infinity Ward is finally giving us the realistic Call of Duty that we want, need, and deserve. And I'm all for it. This is the first Call of Duty I've been actually hyped for since Black Ops 2. So it has been years since I've actually got excited for a Call of Duty game. And I figured all the fans, all the game journalists would also be hyped for the game because I've heard game journalists, I've heard fans say, oh, Call of Duty again. It's just the same old, same old. And this time, it's not the same old, same old. This time, it looks like they're mixing in like Rainbow Six with the Call of Duty mechanics, also with the Spec Ops The Line type story slash brutal violence and imagery. And I'm down for that, man. That is a great mixture. But these game journalists aren't for it. And I don't know why. Game journalists just like to nitpick everything. Oh, so you putting out a war game with real war in it? You mean if I shoot that guy in the head, there's going to be like an entry wound, an exit wound, blood's going to splash out. He's just going to be lying there dead? Oh, man, I don't think my eyeballs can handle that. Man, I think you need to make it like Fortnite, where if I bust into a building and I see a terrorist and I shoot him, a drone will come and just suck his soul inside. No blood, no gore, nothing. That'd be perfect for me. That's just the way it is. And it's not just violence that they nitpick. They nitpick about everything else. Like if a new game comes out, they complain that there's a white, straight male protagonist. Or they'll complain, oh, that female in that game is wearing a tank top and you can see her cleavage. She's only there for the eye candy. She's not going to be a strong role model. She's not going to be important to the story. She's just there for the jiggle physics. Like they just like to complain about every little thing, man. They can't just enjoy video games anymore. And it blows my mind. And these same game journalists complaining about the brutal, disturbing nature of Modern Warfare most likely enjoyed Spec Ops The Line and The Last of Us, two games with very gritty adult-themed storylines, tons of cussing, and very brutal and disturbing imagery and violence. Yet, both of those games are critically acclaimed, and I guarantee they enjoyed those. So I don't know if, as their brain aged, they got more sensitive or what. But why is the brutal, disturbing nature of Call of Duty more offensive than the brutal, disturbing nature of The Last of Us or Spec Ops The Line? I don't know. And it has me worried about The Last of Us Part 2. God damn it, ambulance. Fuck off. In the middle of a video. It's just... But whoever you're going after, hopefully they survive. God bless them. But yeah, man, I'm kind of worried about how they're going to feel about The Last of Us Part 2. Because after watching that 2018 E3 demo, I think The Last of Us Part 2 is probably going to be the most brutal and disturbing video game ever made. I mean, seeing Ellie pull the knife out of that guy's throat, watching the blood squirt out of his artery, and then she shoves that knife back into the same hole she just pulled it out of and then kills the guy, that's brutal and disturbing. When she finds that Colt, and then that one guy guts and disembowels the hanging fella, that's brutal and disturbing. When she's under the car, and then that chick comes to try and grab her, and she shoots her in the cheek, and you see the back of her head explode, and then the blood starts leaking out of her cheek hole, that's brutal and disturbing, man. That violence is probably way more realistic than anything Call of Duty is going to bring to the table. In Call of Duty, you'll probably just blow off limbs like you could do in World at War or Black Ops 1 and 2. I guarantee it's going to be nowhere near as gross as The Last of Us Part 2. And I feel like if they're complaining about the brutal nature of Modern Warfare, they're really not going to like The Last of Us Part 2. And I'm worried that this new Modern Warfare is going to get a low score because they're too sensitive to the violence. You know, all the previous Call of Duties over the years, they've gotten 8s and 9s across the board. And I feel like this one's probably going to end up getting like a 5.5, 6, just because all these game journalists have just become sensitive. And I feel like The Last of Us Part 2, even though it's probably going to be one of the greatest games ever made, story-wise and gameplay-wise, and visually, it's going to end up getting like a 6 or a 7. Too violent for me. So I don't know what the hell's going on, man. I just feel like a lot of these game journalists just need to give up on video games if they're getting offended by everyone that comes out. Just go work at Legoland, go work at Disney World, you know, somewhere where it's a nice TVG, TVPG environment where you don't have to worry about any violence or any disturbing imagery, and just enjoy the rest of your life, man. Instead of nitpicking video games for doing what they're supposed to do, which is get more realistic. That's the whole point of new consoles. That's the whole point of improved graphics, so that one day when we're playing a video game, it's basically like playing real life. But anyways, that's just my take on the whole Modern Warfare disturbing brutality controversy. What are your guys' thoughts? Comment in the section below, and I'll catch you on the next video. Now here we go. Giddy up, giddy up. I'm a pro. If you fuck around with me, then I'ma shoot you in your toe. Whoa.